Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. This time around we are smoking the E-Stunner by EP Carrillo Cigars. And if you were following along with IPCPR show coverage not all that long ago, the E-Stunner line is the one that was promoted by the Mechanical Bull, if you remember. Jerry, getting all buck wild on the back of that Mechanical Bull. That was what was promoting E-Stunner, or what E-Stunner was promoting. So typically when Ernesto Perez Carrillo comes out with a new product, I'm really eager to try it, and one of the more appealing things about EP Carrillo product is that Ernesto always has a very sort of a conservative or a traditional approach to cigars in both the way they're made and the way they're marketed. Excuse me. So when the E-Stunner was released, I was really taken off guard. It was something I would expect from someone like Crowned Heads, not so much, from EP Carrillo. So this is a deviation from the norm, and I was kind of interested to give it a try. The band and the packaging looks much different from a lot of the other EP Carrillo cigars. So from a visual standpoint, this really does stand out from what you're accustomed to seeing with EP Carrillo. I'm outside. You can hear my daughter playing in the background, just trying to make the most of the little bit of free time I've got lately. So I really don't have the particulars on the cigar. I can't give you the rundown of the sizes and the cigar makeup. What I can tell you is that this is my third and final one. EP Carrillo was kind enough to send blogger packs out to various people, and within those packs were 3 cigars total, 3 different sizes. This is a Robusto, I would imagine. There was the small one, and there was, I don't remember whether it was quite a 60 or if it was closer to maybe a Toro or a Churchill size, but either way, this is my third one. So I'm going to smoke it a little bit. We'll come back, talk about it. We'll probably do this in halves, considering my time is really tight. And then, we'll wrap it up, and I'll let you be on your way. Well, I'm coming up on the halfway point of my E-Stunner Robusto, and so far so good. I'm enjoying it. At this point, it's funny. Maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago, when we very first got these samples, when those blogger packs went out, I was really excited. Brand new cigar coming out from a manufacturer that I have a lot of respect for. I was really eager to try it. So I get the package, I open it up. The day it arrives, it's probably not here for an hour, and I'm already tearing into it. I come out here and I light up the Corona, and it's not at all what I was expecting. Kind of disappointing, just wasn't really into it. I grab my phone and I start texting Jerry, and we're going back and forth based on the cigar that I'm smoking and what he remembered from the IPCPR trade show. And we came to the consensus that we really didn't like the Corona, and that kind of set the tone for me. I wasn't nearly as eager to smoke the other sizes because I really didn't like what I got out of that smaller size. So when it was time to smoke the Robusto for this review, I was kind of lukewarm. It's been sitting in the bottom of the humidor for a little while now, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect. As it turns out, this is actually smoking better than I anticipated. A little time in the humidor, it's settled a little bit. We're not talking a very large amount of time, 6 or 8 weeks maybe, and it seems to have settled out quite a bit, and it's not nearly as rough as those other sizes were. I smoked the Corona first. That was kind of rough. I smoked the largest of the 3 maybe a week or 2 after that, and while better, it still really wasn't in my wheelhouse. So I'm enjoying this one. It is very full-bodied, and that is probably what I dislike most about it. It seems as though the emphasis is put squarely on power and less on everything else. I rewatched the IPCPR video from the EP Carrillo booth, and Ernesto mentions that this was aimed towards the 25 to 30-year-old demographic, looking for, power and nuance and things like that. And, I can definitely see where he's coming from there. It is very powerful. It would appeal to, people my age, the cigar hipsters, I guess. And, it's very appealing with its extra full-bodied body, and it falls in line with a lot of the other cigars that are on the market. For example, Cane is more about power than anything else. Some of the smokers that smoke the Hoya de Nicaragua, the Antonio, is kind of the same way, where the emphasis is more on power than flavor. And unfortunately, that's kind of where this one lies. It's all about power, and the flavors, while it's not lacking, it's definitely secondary. The flavors are kind of interesting. You know, I'm getting some woody flavors, some nutty flavors. There's a bit of creaminess to it. So it's not as though all the flavors are just muted completely. They're not the focal point, and that's okay. It's just not really what I'm into these days. I'm smoking more medium-bodied cigars, medium to full, which put an emphasis on flavor and not so much power. So the old me 5 years ago would have fell in love with this thing immediately. The smoker that I am now, I wish it had a bit more nuance. I wish the flavors were bolder, but it's smoking really well. I'm enjoying it, and I've got another half to go through yet before we finish up. So I'm gonna give my daughter permission to make as much noise as she wants now. Again, I think we're on take about 5 at this point. So I will be back, and we'll take a look at the last half, and we'll wrap it up. Well, I'm coming down the home stretch of my E-Stunner by EP Carrillo, and I've got to say I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit better than it was earlier on. It's still very much a full-bodied cigar. It's very much a powerhouse smoke, but the flavors are becoming a little more vibrant as it burns down, and as a result, I'm enjoying it more and more as it gets shorter. Body is quite easily full-bodied. It's got a bit of a creaminess to it in the finish, which is nice. The flavor profile is interesting. I'm getting a woody and a nutty flavor kind of up front. It's got a very long and lingering vegetal sort of aftertaste to it that I'm not crazy about it, but it gets washed out by the coffee that I'm drinking. So it all kind of works out in the end. I've got a lot of resting smoke blowing past my face. It's very pungent. Even so, I kind of like that even more. It keeps people away. It keeps people at bay when you're in a crowded situation, which is a nice perk. And the smokability, or the construction of the cigar, has been fantastic. Easy draw, lots of smoke. It's nice and thick. Coats the palate really well. It's easy to get through the sinus and get that aroma going, and that's where a lot of that vegetal flavor is most prominent, and then after that it kind of lingers on the palate for a little while. I think the price point is $5.50 to $7.20 for the 3 sizes that are available, based on the video that I watched a little bit ago. And it's a good solid cigar. It's not my favorite from the EP Carrillo lineup. It's not even towards the top. I mean, it's a good cigar, but there are a handful of other EP Carrillo cigars that I would much rather have. But if you're into serious powerhouse cigars, the E-Stunner is most definitely something you should look into. If you're smoking Cane or the Joya de Nicaragua Antonio, or any of the other cigars that really put power first, then the E-Stunner is something that you might want to look into and check out. The price point is right. The manufacturer is one of the best in the business. EP Carrillo is fantastic, makes great product, and this one is no exception. It's just not, it's not quite my thing. It's good for occasional smoke, but this is not something I'd be picking up frequently. Not to end this thing on a bad note or anything, but you should definitely head on over to your local cigar shop or your preferred online retailer and order up a 5-pack. Give it a shot. Head on down into the comment section and tell us what you think of the E-Stunner by EP Carrillo.